In Unit 9, you're going to learn how to calculate the surface area and the volume of a three-dimensional figure. And you need to learn some new terms. You heard a little bit about bases when you did regular perimeter and area. So remember, base is what we would call the bottom. And this is an interesting thing. You name pyramids and prisms by their bases. So bases are also how pyramids and prisms are named. Because there are times where we're going to show you pictures and the prism is on its side. It is not on the base. So base is usually the bottom, but we're going to mess with your heads. We're not going to put a triangular prism standing bottom to top all the time. We'll do it sideways. So base is the bottom sometimes, and also how pyramids and prisms are named. Now, what's a pyramid and what's a prism? So here we go. I'm going to write all over these notes. Pyramid is a polygon, well, a three-dimensional figure. It has one base and triangular sides that meet at a point. Okay? A pyramid has one base, it's a polygon, and triangular sides that meet at a point. You might have a triangular pyramid, a square pyramid, a heptagon pyramid. I can't come up with the right word. An octagon pyramid. We name them by their bases. So if I say this is an octangular pyramid, I don't even know if that's a word. That means the base is an octagon, which has 8 sides. So we're giving you information in the name, right? Now let's do a prism. A prism, it's a polyhedron, which means a three-dimensional figure with multiple sides. It has parallel bases and rectangular faces. All these words. Okay. Faces. Faces are kind of the sides. So in a triangular prism, or rather in a prism, the sides are always going to be rectangles. In a triangular prism, the bases are triangles. Like I said, it's how we name our pyramids and prisms, by the shape of the base. Now, let's look at this. So a prism has how many bases? It has 2 bases. They're parallel, and a prism has parallel bases with rectangular faces. So if the faces, the sides of our prism are rectangular, you don't have no circles. Okay, a prism does not have a circular base. No. A pyramid has one base. Does it have a circular base? No. Because the definition of a pyramid is one base and triangular sides that meet in a point. If the base is a circle, the sides will not be triangles. So and then again, we're going to get to pictures in a second. A cylinder, well, think of a can. It has 2 bases. Are they circular? Oh, they are. And a cone has 1 base and it's circular. So now you know prism, pyramid, cylinder, and cone. A cylinder looks like a can. It doesn't matter whether it's a short, fat can or a tall, thin can. A cylinder is a can. That's a great visual to have in your mind. A cone, well, if you've ever seen the pictures of the dumb kids in the class who sit in the corner with the dunce cap, that's a cone. A waffle cone, which is more fun to think about, is a cone. Circular base, and it does not have triangular sides. Now a sphere is a ball. Does a ball have a base? No, it does not. Okay, this little handy dandy list is going to help you. Now we are going to analyze the pictures we see. Figure A, which shows a rectangular pyramid. All right, pyramid has one base. Oh, one base. So that cannot be B, and that cannot be D. And it has triangular sides that meet in a point. Well, if you look at figure A, it does have one base, but that base is a circle. So that is not a pyramid. You look at figure, so cross that one out. Figure C has a base that is a rectangle. But Mrs. Gates, it looks like a square. Remember Unit 4, a square is a rectangle. Okay? Has a rectangular base and triangular sides that meet in a point. So figure C. Next one, which figure shows a sphere? Does anything out of those four figures look like a ball? That would be no. Now, which figure shows a rectangular prism? Over here is your definition. Prism is parallel bases with rectangular faces. Parallel bases, it means it has to have two. Well, that lets out figure A and that lets out figure C. We're left with B and D. D, well, the bases in D are circles, so that's a cylinder. The bases in B are rectangles. Yay! So we have an answer. Remember, the name of the shape tells you what the base is. All right, let's go to the next page. Now we're going to use a net to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism is a fancy way of saying box. A box. You take a tissue box, let's just say a long box, and you break it apart. You're going to get short pieces, long pieces, wide pieces, and narrow pieces. That's what we're doing here. So when you have a net, and you can use it to find the surface area. Surface area is the area of each face. Right up here. Face, sides of pyramid, and prism. Those are called faces because we already talked about what the base is. The faces are the sides. The bases are the top and bottom. But remember, we don't always stand it up, top and bottom. All right, so we're going to find the surface area of this rectangular prism. So first you find the following sides for the net. Let's look at our box. A, see how our box is? Well, A is 5 because A corresponds to that side. B is the height of our prism, and that's 8. So is D. D is also the height of the prism. That doesn't change. C is that teeny little bit, that 2 millimeter. Because if you can imagine, if you took that top flap and you opened it up that way, that would be 2. Use the net to find the surface area of the prism. So what we're going to do, I'm going to write all over this thing, and we're going to do areas. B is 8, A is 5, C is 2, D is 8. All right? It's a messy 2, and I apologize. Very sloppy 2. All right. This is 2. This is 5. This is 2. Got numbers all over the place. So let's look at this. 8 times 5 is 40 because this side, this is the same as B. 2 times 5 is 10. Well, this one's going to be 10 also. 2 times 8 is 16. Well, that one's going to be 16 also, and that one's going to be 40. Mrs. Gates, how did you do that? Well, a rectangular prism has 6 sides. The bases are going to be congruent. The and opposite sides are going to be congruent. I knew that this was 8. Let's go ahead and I'm going to change my little numbering just a little bit. Okay, guys? I want to make sure this is very clear to you. All right, so let me put this back to green. Okay, that's 2, that's 8, that's 8, that's 5. So therefore this is 2, and this is 8. See where I'm going? So now you can see 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times this is 8, 16. Now you can see how the sides match. We have 2 of everything. So now we're going to use the net to find the surface area. Okay, I've got my individual areas. What do? I add them. 40 plus 40 plus 16 plus 16 plus 10 plus 10. That is 80, 100, 132. And if I did my math wrong, correct it on your notes. It's kind of fun though. So there you go. We took a box, we broke it apart, we found the area of each piece, and we also learned something. We learned that 2 of each area. Let me write it in proper English. 2 of each area. Oh, okay. So maybe we can do this without having to break a box apart and measure each piece. So that's how you use, that's one way. And we discovered 2 of each area. Now, we're going to find the surface area of this rectangular prism. Excuse me. But we did not break this apart. So method 1 is the net, and method 2 is a formula. So we're going to do it both ways. Nets. There are 2 4x2 rectangles. So 2 times 8, 2 times 16, 2 times 32. Okay, we got a list. 16, 32, 64. Add them together. 12, carry the 1. 112 yards. Big box. Yards squared because it's surface area. So it's the square of the measurement. Method 2 is using a formula. Formulas are good. Formulas are awesome. Surface area equals the perimeter times the height plus 2 times the bases. Okay, rectangular prisms can be a little bit tricky. You have to decide which 2 sides, which parallel sides are going to be your bases. In a rectangular prism, you make the choice. I am going to choose the way it's written. I'm going to say this and this, the yellows, those are my bases. Okay? I have identified my bases. Okay? Now, you've got to find the perimeter of this thing. So, let's do the perimeter of the bases. Perimeter is what we have on the bases. The bases, my bases are 8 by 2. I have chosen those sides, okay? I've chosen those sides as my bases. They are 8 by 2, so the perimeter is, there's 2 times 8 plus 2, because it's 8 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2. 2 times 10 equals 20. Okay, that's great, Mrs. Gates. What's the height? The height, I'm going to put it over here. Height is the distance between the bases. That's why you needed to identify which two were going to be your bases. And I'm going to do this another way also, okay? I'll finish this one first. So the height in this case is 4 because that's the distance between my two bases. And then we have, let's go back to yellow, B, which is the area of my base. We call this big B. This is the first time you're hearing big B. Big B is the area of the base. Big B is 16. So now I'm going to plug it all into the formula. I've got all the pieces. Now I'm going to plug it all into the formula, okay? 20 times 4 plus 2 times 16. 20 times 4 is 80. 80 plus 32 equals, well, I'll write it over here. 80 plus 32 equals 112 yards squared. Do you know how happy I am that worked out? Here, make it again, make it neater. The formula makes it simpler. It's a shorter equation, all right? That's what we're doing. I take my time. I split it out and show everything because I want you to understand. So when we say P, P stands for perimeter. We've got height, distance between bases. P equals perimeter of base. The perimeter of the base. You need to know what the bases are so you can do the perimeter, okay? So you find the perimeter of the base. You find the height, which is the distance between the two bases, between the two parallel bases. Then you find the area, big B, of the base. Once you have these pieces of information, which I have over on the left side of this, the P, H, and B, then you plug it into the formula and you do the math. I know you think right now, wow, that formula is taking forever, but that's because this is the first time you're exposed to it. It gets easier. So let's do another one. We're going to do a word problem involving the surface area of a rectangular prism. So the boxes are shaped like rectangular prisms. That's good. We need to know that. She wants to cover all the sides with special wallpaper, just like wrapping a present. She has 144 square feet of wallpaper. How many boxes can she cover? That's a really good question. First, we've got to find the surface area of the box. We have our dimensions. I am going to choose, let's go back to colors. I'm going to choose these as my bases. It's a rectangular prism. I need to identify my bases. Now let's do some stuff. P equals 9 plus 5 plus 9 plus 5, right? 18, 28 equals 28. The height, which we did in red, the distance between the two bases, height is 3. The area of the base is 9 times 5 is 45. Now I'm going to plug it into the formula. pH 28 times 3 plus 2 times 45. Got to get a handy dandy calculator. I probably could do it in my head, but let's make sure it's right. All right, gotta find my calculator. 28 times 3, you have 84 plus 90 equals 174 square feet. All right, so we have the surface area of our box. Now we've got to figure out how many of those can be wrapped with 1,044 square feet of wallpaper. Let's see. Math, oh, this is easy math. 1044, well, I'll use the proper form. Divided by 174 equals 1044, calculator, equals 6. She can do 6 boxes. Not bad, huh? All right, next page. Now to confuse you a little bit, we're going to throw in a triangular prism. And I don't know if you're like me. I have a difficult time seeing things exploded out. It's just a visual thing. I'm going to show you a couple things. A triangular prism. The bases are triangles. We call it a triangular prism because it is named by the bases, which I said a little bit earlier in the notes. The bases are triangles. I don't care how we have it laying down on a table or standing on a table. The bases are triangles. How do you find the area of a triangle? 1/2 small b times h. Small b is the length of the base of your triangle. The area equals big B. What I said on the last page. Big B base means the area of the base. Small b is the length of the base. You've got to get these two different terms. Even though they're the same words, we use capital and small letters to denote the differences. Big B base is the area of a triangle. Alrighty, now let's label some things. So I'm going to do the easiest piece first. D is the hypotenuse of my triangle. That's 10. I'm going to label it all over. And if you look, the base of my triangle is 8. There isn't a letter there, but I'm going to label it anyway because I need all the information I can get. The height of my triangle is 6, and that is C. The small leading edge, I'll call it the leading edge, is 4. That would be A. Oops, 4. 4 up there. And these long sides, B, they are 10 because they connect. Yep, they are not 10. I always have problems with this. We have two different triangles here. Yeah. That's 6. That is 10. That is it's been a long day, guys. This rectangle is 8 by 4. Oops, skip back to this rectangle is 8 by 4. See it down there? And this rectangle is 10 by 4. So B is 8. Look at your picture. This is the top lid. I'm just gonna highlight the yellow for a second. That's the top lid of my box. That's 10 by 4, which it matches this one. And I'm gonna do black over here. 8 by 4, that's this part. Okay? I find it tricky sometimes too, so don't feel bad. All right, let's find the net. Use the net to find the surface area. I have big B equals 1/2 6 times 8 equals 1/2 of 48, which is 24. And I have another one, so this is 24, and that's 24. This is 4 times 10, so this is 40. This is 4 times 8, so this is 32. We're going to add them together. 24 plus 24 plus 40 plus 32 equals calculator time. We have 24 plus 24 plus 40 plus 32 equals 120 centimeters squared, or square centimeters. Remember, it's an area. Surface area is area So you write it as squared. Now we're going to do it, and there's our formula. We're going to do method 1, the net. Method 2, the formula. So there are 2 triangles and here we go. So there are two triangles, one 8 by 12 rectangle. All right. The 2 triangles, we didn't write the dimensions down, so I'm going to write them down. The 2 triangles are 5 by 12 by 13. Whatever. Okay, the area of the triangle is going to be 1/2 base 5, height 12. Okay, 1/2 base times height. 1/2 of 60 is 30. So there are 2 triangles, so we have 30 times 2. 1 8 by 12 rectangle, 8 times 12 is 94. I'm sorry, 96. Wow, Mrs. Gates is just batting it out of the park today. Okay, couldn't even get my metaphor right. An 8 by 5 rectangle, which is 40, and an 8 by 13, which I'm not going to do in my head because I stink at it, 104. Adding all the areas, I have 60 because that's 2 triangles, plus 96, plus 40, plus 104. I've got 300 centimeters squared. Now, let's do the formula. Everything's the same. Big B is the area of the base. P is the perimeter of the base. H is the height, which is the distance between the 2 bases. Oh, okay, so not so bad. P, base is a triangle, right? 5 plus 12 plus 13 equals 30. H is the distance between the 2 bases, that's 8. Big B equals the area of the base, which is 1/2 5 times 12, which equals 30. I've got my pieces, now I'm going to put them all together. Which sides are the bases? Let's close that. Which sides are the bases? The triangles. The height is 8. The distance between triangles. Can't spell triangles. Between the bases. I'll put bases, it's more sense. So the surface area is P times H, 30 times 8 plus 2 times 30 equals 240 plus 60 equals 300 centimeters squared. Love it when something works. Alrighty, so you've learned 2 ways to calculate the surface area of a rectangular prism and a triangular prism. And you're going to calculate the surface area of any prism this same way. I'm going to get my little highlighter out. Highlight it in yellow. Surface area equals perimeter times height plus 2 times the base. Perimeter is around the base, the perimeter of the base. Height, the distance between the 2 bases. Big B, the area of the base. All that's written down on the previous page. Repeat it after yourself, do it lots, and you'll be fine.